Welcome to ePathshala in computer science. The subject is software quality management. The module is software configuration management. Change is always possible. This lesson discusses about change management. Learning objectives: to introduce about change management, to explain the concept of baseline in change management, the steps in software configuration management, and quality auditing. Change comes in day to day life, it comes from anywhere at any time. For example, even in my class, if I fix a test date, some students will ask for change in the test set. Suppose the date is to be changed, it has to be consulted with all the other students. When we consult with all the students, one student may be telling one date and another student some other date. Therefore, change is not possible. We have to check the availability of classroom, availability of all the students, and availability of staff for the invigilation and so on. In this way, change is very difficult. In software development also, necessary changes must be allowed, but when change will come, who will request for a change, that is not known. That is why Bersov says like this: no matter where you are in the system development life cycle, the system will change and the desire to change will persist throughout the life cycle. The software developer and the software project management team must be ready to make change in the software at any time. Now, we will see the learning objectives. The learning objectives are to introduce about change management, to explain about baseline, to explain about the steps in the software configuration management, and to discuss about quality auditing. What are the changes? Changes will be done on software configuration items. The items are the business requirement document, technical requirement document, user requirements, user level requirements, design document. It can be in the software model, it can be in the data, it can be in the code, it can be in the project plan, it can be in the test plan or any other document. In all the items, we must be able to make changes in the software. So, the software configuration items are identified like this. These are the most important items which are undergoing change: program, data, and document. People will think that program is very important, and some people will think that data is more important, and somebody else think that program and data are important. But all the three items, programs, data and document, all the three are important. Changes will be coming in all the three. We must be able to make changes in all the three of the three objects listed here. Now, what is in the configuration? The configuration contains system specification, requirement specification, software project plan, and the system requirement document, preliminary user manual, design specification, source code listing after writing the program, test plan or procedure in the as the testing document, installation and operation manual for user manual, it is after finishing, finally executable software. All these things are changeable at any time. So, that is why in the software configuration all these things are coming. SCM, when you say in short form SCM, full form is software configuration management. It is nothing but change management. In software engineering, the software configuration management needs to identify the changes. It performs version control, change control, auditing and reporting. For this, what we need is software engineering tools, methods, procedures, and total quality management foundation, TQM foundation. These are the things which are necessary for software configuration management. Today's lecture, we are going to see the steps in the SCM, that is how to identify the changes, how to do version control, how to do change control, how to do auditing and reporting. These are the steps we are going to focus today. Now, the software configuration management, it is the art of identifying organizing and controlling modification to the software. We have to identify the changes required, then you have to organize the request, then where the software is available, where the data is available, we have to bring it, make the changes, test it, control the modification, approve the modification, build the software again using a programming team. By doing this, we maximize the productivity and minimize the mistake. If you do not do a proper technique in configuration management, then mistakes will be more and the productivity will be less. The SCM activities are identifying changes, change control, then ensure that changes are made properly and report the changes to the others, and who is having interest in the report in the changes, they should be identified and notified about the changes to all such people. Now, baseline is an important concept in software configuration management. Up to what time we can make changes easily? Suppose we are going to a restaurant, we are ordering for things. When the waiter is with us, we can order for anything, we can change it, we can ask him, you cut this item, you add this item. So, instead of this item 4 of this item, you can make it to 5 of this item or 6 of this item 1, or you can say item 1 2 varieties and item 2 3 pieces, like that you can change at any time up to the time the waiter is with you. Suppose he is taking the order and going to the kitchen, gives the order to the cook or not. Once he reaches the door, after that if you make changes, he will say that we made already, the making process is already on, therefore, we cannot make changes. If we make changes still, then it will be costly. In the same way, in software configuration management, you can make changes when the software is with you. You are the developer. In your company, you are developing for a client. When the software is in your company, if you make changes, then it can be formally reviewed, it can be accepted, it can go to the testing team, you can bring it again, you can make modifications, you can submit it again, no problem, it will be not costly. But once it is going to the customer side, you are putting the product into use, once it is put into production, then changes are not easy. That is why the baseline is the place where your company is located, you are keeping the software with you, up to that time it is in the inside the baseline. So, the a baseline is SCM concept that helps us to control change without seriously embedding justifiable change. Now, once it is reviewed, agreed, that is the baseline. After that, no changes are allowed. If you want to make changes, then a change control procedure should be followed. By following the procedure only, we can make changes. Here, once a baseline is established, the changes can be made only through a formal procedure which evaluates each change request. If the request is correct, then changes will be allowed, otherwise it will not be allowed. Now, the questions which SCM must answer: how do we manage request for change? If so many people are requesting change, whether we should take all the changes or we should take only important changes, we have to take only costly changes or cheaper changes, some changes are requiring more time, it should be taken or not, all that things we have to evaluate. So, how do we manage request for change, and where are the software components? Suppose you developed a software, you are giving to the customer, one copy of the software is with you, but it will not be with you. As a developer, you will submit to the project leader, the project leader will submit to the project manager, the project manager will submit to the company will be having in a database. You have to take it out from the database, you have to get a gate pass for that through the senior most manager. Now, where it is located, how to get it back and how to put it back, all that things are to be decided in the change management. And what is the status of each software component, whether it is completed or delivered, in progress. For every software component, we have to see the status. how does a change in one component will affect the other. When you make a change in one component of the software, it may introduce some problem to some other components. Therefore, it should be tested separately, it should be tested along with other components, tested with the entire system and so on, so that it will not make any problem. Then how do we resolve conflicting requirement changes? Suppose A wants to make some change, B wants to make some change, but A's change is that conflicting B's change. For example, in subject allotment, there was a requirement in our department. Some staff members wanted to take same subject to 2 classes. Some people, they wanted to take only for 1 class. If they are giving to 2 classes, they wanted to break it and give it to some other person. Now, there is one group which wants only 1 subject in 2 classes, and some other group 1 subject in 1 class, 1 subject in some other class. Now, the timetable in charge is allocating some subjects, they want for change, but the policy should be uniform to the department. One group of people are asking for 2 without splitting, some people want splitting, the requirements are conflicting. The resolve is all the people should take 1 UG, 1 PG, like that. When rule comes, it is solved. In this way, in the software also, if 2 people are required for change, if they are conflicting with each other, it should be solved by a common formula. That is also an important question which is to be answered in software configuration management. And multiple version, if we maintain multiple version of the software, version 1, version 2, version 3, or version 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, then 2, 2.1, 2.3, which version is the latest version and which version is the cheapest version, which has more features, which is easy to use, all that things questions will come. Therefore, is it necessary to have multiple versions or not necessary, that is to be decided. And how do we keep the system up to date? Whenever we make changes, then we have to make changes in such a way that all systems are updated. Now, in the SCM, these are the tasks: identification of objects in the software configuration, identifying the software configuration object, doing version control, version number 1, version number 2, like that. Change control, somebody will request for a change, whether it is to be allowed or not, how to change, who will make changes, whether review is to be done by 1 person or many persons, how to get it back to the original place, all that things are done in the change control. After that, configuration auditing. Once the configuration is changed, we have to do auditing. Auditing means the previous auditing report and the current auditing report both should be compared in such a way that both are conforming to the company's requirements. Finally, status reporting. We have to make changes, what changes are made, how it is made, who made, this status should be reported. These are all steps. We will start with the first step. In the first step, for every item, we have to identify unit of text in the software engineering. It may be analysis document, design document, code or testing document, everything it is a unit, and a collection of basic objects will make aggregate object. For example, one module, a set of modules, one data table in database, a set of tables, like that you have to collect the objects from basic objects to aggregate objects. Every object will be distinguished from some other object. For example, 2 tables in a database may be different by name or name and extension, name and version number. In this way, you have to uniquely identify the objects with respect to name, with respect to description, with respect to resources, with respect to realization. In this way, we have to identify objects. That is the first step in software configuration management. The second step is version control. We developed a software, it is working well, but somebody wanted to change it. Why they want to change? They want to add some more features, or there is some problem in the previous version, they want to modify that and to make a new version. But this new version, will it be better than the new version? Will it be better than the older version? Will it be costly? Will it take more time to develop? Will it run for more time? All that things we have to take care in the version control. So, version control combines the procedures and tools to manage different versions of the configuration objects, version 1, 2, 3, like that we can give number, or we can give numbers like 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 like that. So, it can be simply as simple as specifying a version number or a complex data structure and algorithms, functional changes that is applied to all the system. Therefore, version control, when you say version 1, version 2, it is a simple thing, but version 1 as a separate algorithm, separate type of databases, separate type of user interfaces, separate logic, separate program, the entire thing is separate, means it is a complex task to produce a new version than the older version. After doing that, then we have to come to the change control. Change control is the biggest thing. We can do versions, but versions are depending upon the changes which we made. Suppose minor changes are made, we can say version 1.1, 1.2 like that. If major changes are made, we will go from version 1 to version 2, version 3, version 4 like that. It combines human procedures and automated tools to provide a mechanism for control of changes. So, the changes can be controlled by human procedures. Human procedure means you have to take signature from so and so, you have to apply through this channel only, this many people should support the change, and company should change support. Then you must have some automated tool to make the changes. Now, we will see how the change control is taking place. First, a change request is coming from people. The person who wants to make the request, he has to identify why he wants to change. The need for change is recognized by the change management team. Next, the user who wants to make changes, request the changes, he has to create a change request in a format. Now, it will go to the developer will evaluate the change request and produce as a report. The report will go to the higher management. The higher management will read the report. In the report, if the developer says that the changes are easy and it is useful, then the change will be approved. Suppose the developer says that it is costly and it is not going to give any benefit to the organization, then it will not be accepted. Therefore, the change request should be formed in such a way that it should be accepted. If it is not formed properly, then it will be rejected. Now, the change control body, there is a group, they will check and they will give three type of report. One is yes, the change request is accepted, you can generate a engineering change order, that is ECO, it is queued. Next, maybe report rejected right now, give more information, the reason given for change request, the reasons given in the change request form is not satisfactory. You give for some more points. If you are able to give more explanation on why you are willing to change, then it will be accepted, otherwise it will not be accepted. The third category is no, your change request is denied. You inform the user that the request given by the user is not genuine or very costly, time consuming, not possible to make with this cost. Now, change control, in the change control there is a group of people, they assign staff to implement the engineering change order. They have to check out the source code and document means the program is source code, then they have to give the database. After that, the document, you have to modify in the source code, you have to make changes in the database. Suppose you do not want to make changes in the database also, you have to do testing with the database. Therefore, you have to do check out from the company, in some place it is checked in, from there you have to check out and bring all the source code, database and document. Then you have to make the changes after bringing out. After making the changes, send it to the review team, review it, make changes again. After that, audit the changes whether only the changes approved are only carried out, or there are some changes which are not approved but carried out. That also it is to be checked by the review committee. Finally, they will establish a baseline for testing. After establishing a baseline for testing, now it is allowed for changing. Now, change is taking place, the software is changed by the developer. After changing, he has to perform software quality assurance and testing activities. After making all the changes, testing, quality assurance using reviews and so on, it is to be given back to the company, so that they will deliver to the customer one copy it will be put into the company's database. So, it is to be checked in. The checking in, we have to give the source code, document, database, everything. Now, promote change action for inclusion in the next release. Suppose the change is done correctly and it is going to give profit to the company, they will promote it. Suppose new version is developed, they will say that we have developed a new version of the software which has more features than the old software. This will be very faster, it covers more users, it is cheaper, it provides fast response, you can use with any type of system, it is portable, it is working with all type of operating systems, it is backward compatibility, it has database support for all type of databases, like that they will promote it, and they will rebuild one appropriate version based on the changes made, and they will do review audit about the change. Finally, they will include changes and release the software. Whenever you take the software from the inside the database, you must have access control. Access control will have different roles. Roles means, suppose a senior manager, he can check in, check out, he can allow modifications, like that many things. Even in a table, somebody will be allowed to read, write, execute, or modify the procedure, like that many access control will be there. Access control policies are applied on the software, documents and the program which are taken from the repository available in the company. The change control requires restricted access to the configuration objects, whether it is program or database or document, everybody should not be allowed. It should be allowed only by producing a engineering change order which was generated and accepted by the change control body. It is given to the checkout team. The checkout team has given correct validation. After doing the validation on access control, they will check out. After changes are made and have been reviewed, the changed configuration item is again given to the access control policies. They will apply access control policies, based on that it will be checked in. So, the access control governs which software engineers have the authority to access the data, program, document which are stored in the company's repository for change management. What objects they can take it out, what objects they can check in, that will be decided by the access control policies. It is given by a diagram. Suppose you want to do checkout, first the software engineer comes and the software engineer will do the check-in. After that, it will go to the project database, it is stored. Suppose you want to check it out, then you have to give a request, it will go to the through this arrow marks are shown. So, that access control procedure is available, that is what I want to say. The access control procedure is followed for check-in as well as check-out. In both the things, if you want to take it from the database, project database also you have to apply access control policies. Even if you want to store in the database also, you have to apply access control policies. In both the things, the software engineer will be giving the requests. Now, the next SCM task is software configuration audit. In the software configuration audit, once the changes are made, requested, engineering change request is created, changes are made, it is reviewed. After that, it is checked in again, new version is released, all are over. But we should not stop with that, it should be audited. Auditing is done only after finishing everything. Now, for auditing, how to do that? These are the questions we have to answer. How do we ensure that the change authorized by a ECO has been properly implemented? In the ECO, they should have told you have to make only these changes, whether only that changes are made or some other changes are made, whether all the changes approved are carried out or some of them are left out, that is also checked in the audit. Is there any discrepancy between the change request and the changes made? Next, formal technical reviews, whether reviews were conducted properly, without seeing the person, without seeing the project, or based on person, based on project, they finish the reviews. Next, the configuration audit, whether configuration auditing is properly done or not, that is also done in this audit. Then formal technical review focuses on the technical correctness of the configuration audit, then modified. But in the audit, they will check whether each and every object, if they get permission for one object, they should ensure that the changes are only made in that object, not in any other object. In the audit, they will check as changes specified in the ECO is made, whether additional modifications are made, whether reviews are conducted properly, whether standards are followed, if the change is highlighted in the revised version, who changed, the author name is specified or not, and the SCM software configuration management procedures are followed for changes, whether related engineering change orders are properly updated, all that questions will be given in the audit. Now, the auditor will check these questions one by one, starting from engineering change order is generated, what are the modifications approved, whether all the modifications are carried out properly, whether reviewed, standards are followed, then the standards are highlighted with different colors or fonts, like that they will check it. Now, I told different steps are there. The last step in the software configuration management is configuration status reporting. Once it is change requested changes are made out, new versions are released, it is audited, checked in, audited, reviewed, tested, everything is over. A status report will be given to the higher authorities. In that, we have to write only a small report on what happened. What happened means who initiated the change, whether it was coming from the customer or from the developer, why it was happening. In order to do competition with the other companies, the changes were requested, or some errors were there in the previous version, to rectify that some changes are requested. In that way, what happened and who did it, who made the request, who approved the request, who reviewed the corrected copy, and who did the changes, who put it again, who were all the persons involved, everything will be done. Then when did it happen and what else will be affected, all these things are taken care in the status report. SCM benefits are, it reduces the cost, improved the productivity, improves the security, and management control is improved, and record keeping is improved. Summary: in software configuration management, first step is identifying the changes, next is to make the changes, finalizing the baseline. For that, we have to create a change request, then the change control procedure will be followed, make the changes, audit it, finally generate a change report. These are all the steps followed in the software configuration management. Thank you.